Yeah, Ray and Bamey, the two Korean solo laners for the team, looking great, but the Jinx positioning not quite on point yet, so we'll see if ADG can clean a few things up here in EP. You know, a decent start to the game, ended strong as well with the late game composition, was impressive, but we are into the draft now. Swapping sides, of course, with ADG on the blue and EP over on the red. Xerath Maokai there for ADG, and Rek'Sai and Riven banned once again by Energy Pacemaker.
And getting rid of the Xerath means that maybe Bamey is looking at that Katarina, because getting rid of one of the longer range champions with a stun, doesn't want to have to deal with that. Played it fairly well in last game, but they're also getting rid of the Nunu. I think that's definitely a smart move. Drizzle had a really good game of positioning around the map. It gets rid of some of the synergy with Azir, so you don't really have to ban that one now, as well as all the scaling hyper carries.
Yeah, synergy with Jinx as well is the big one for me. Nunu, such a great ban because it blocks a good jungler and arguably two great laners as well in Azir and Jinx. So strong stuff overall. LeBlanc, the last ban there. So Raphael, the very good LeBlanc players, respecting Bamey twice now and banning that away. And Xu Xiaoyin might just go straight back to Sejuani.
Yeah, certainly looks to be the case. Don't know if I value it as high as maybe the Gnar that we saw first game, because Ray just played that terrifically, but he might want to play something a little bit more carry-oriented. And this is the one that doesn't make sense to me. Taking away Maokai when Hecarim's still available. Hecarim, we saw he got unkillable last game, but more importantly, he was like an assassin in the backline with the challenging smite, able to fly in there and delete either the AD, or if he was getting anywhere near Bamey, was giving him a real trouble as well.
Yeah, and Kalista being freed up as a pick here as well does get locked in by Drizzle, so that'll be Zhang Ao's AD carry. And we've seen Zhang Ao play a lot of good Kalista actually when he came onto the team. That was one of the champions he played most in the LPL, and EP might just complete a bottom lane here. It's going to be Thresh for Xu as well.
Wow, that is...
No,
wow.
Lost going to switch to Lulu instead.
Two crazy picks. Didn't expect to see a Lulu come through, so maybe that'll be Raphael in the mid lane. Would be surprised to see Amazing J in the top lane pick it up, so also not really a great support at the moment is Lulu, so looks to be a mid lane pickup, but we'll have to see exactly how it works out. Shine, on the other hand, very practiced at the Thresh. Couple it with a Jinx means you can't really lane swap because they have such a good time in the 2v1. Good lane coming out of here from ADG.
Yeah, I like it. We talk about Nunu being a potential blocker pick for this comp, but apparently still happy to maybe pick this up as well. I like the EP is sort of showing a bottom lane potentially in ADG. Going to try and do it in the same favor here, not show too much, leave those solo laners open, and it is the bottom lane completed for ADG, Thresh and Jinx.
Yeah, so they're able to get that one through. As we said, really good 2v1 lane. Thresh able to get around the map, impact other lanes, but then also the flay into the Chompers combo is just so devastating as soon as Jinx has any items available. So it's a strong lane. Want to see whether they do elect for the lane swap. Of course, we saw standard lanes game one.
Well, if that's the pick, I think they'll probably opt for a lane swap there. Don't really want to face check an Annie as the Jinx here, especially with Kalista. And it is locked in. You have to think that's a support pick, and Drizzle going back to Lee Sin.
Wow, that is craziness. Electing to go the king of early junglers against Sejuani, who is just so strong late. This game goes anywhere past the 30-minute mark, really firmly in ADG's favor right now. You just feel they scale up so nicely.
Yeah, they might even go even deeper into the late game potential here for the Jinx. So we saw a Kale being hovered briefly. In fact, Shine selecting it once again here. This looks like a very specific comp for ADG. Very defensive so far with the summoners that Bamey has. And if these picks go through as well, basically all in on two carries once again. And it almost worked in the last game. Ray's going to have to come up even bigger. Cassiopeia Kale at ADG's 4th and 5th picks.
Cool, so that is a Kale.
Yep.
Being picked up probably in the top lane, although we might see a mid lane Kale. You can never know here with Cassiopeia players, particularly in the melee matchups. Sometimes like to go into the top. Papa Smithy, a very big fan of that top lane Cassiopeia at the moment, thinks that it is something that breaks the meta. And Amazing J looking at a Jax.
Well, I mean, Cassio would have been okay against someone like Lulu if that was Amazing J's top laner, but not quite as convinced to get someone like Jax. So maybe just have Kale sit up there instead. Be interested to see Ray on a champion like Kale. Very different to the Gnar that he played in the last game. It is a Jax locked in here for EP, so very set stuff here for them. I wonder where ADG are going to put their carries here as their last few picks, but EP, this is a very EP style comp. Big late game carry for Amazing J and lots of strong early presence in the other lanes.
Yeah, there certainly is. And the thing about the Jax pickup is who do you put against him late game? There's no one that can really go toe-to-toe with a late game Jax in a split push scenario. And diving a Lulu, always a bad idea. So we'll see exactly how this game works out. But ADG, they have a fantastic 5v5 team fight. So Energy Pacemaker, they just look to take that away completely.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Split push, splitting up the AoE comp here. We saw Nara Ultimate last game for Ray almost turn the game around for ADG. Another big, high-impact situational ultimate here for Cassiopeia, and these matchups are nuts. Kale versus Jax, we said it would get crazy as we move through the day. That's certainly true here. And Sejuani versus Lee Sin, bit more normalized there as well.
Yeah, a bit normalized, but not 5.6 normalized. Lee Sin really fallen out of favor for a lot of junglers. We also see the Cassiopeia versus the Lulu matchup. Cassio going to be able to bully around this matchup very hard.
Yeah, and there's Jinx versus Kalista this time, so Jin Zhao taking the same carry there, but Zhang Yao going to mix it up into one of his most played from the LPL, and Shrine on Thresh versus Shuzani. Big engage supports for the bottom side, high impact ultis across the map. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that Jin Zhao is the play to focus on. Needs to lift. Didn't look convincing in game one. If they are going to bring this back to 1v1 ADG, you feel their bottom lane has to do some work.
Yeah, their landing was great. They got to the position they needed to get into those late game fights well, but when it came to execution in the late game, Bamey and Ray looked great, and Jin Zhao did not quite deliver.
Yeah, it certainly didn't. Now they have the extra pressure of Drizzle's Lee Sin kick. If he can do anything, it's get the Jinx into the middle of the team fight, and that's what he's going to look to do.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get it done. We're about to get straight onto the Rift. And welcome back here for Game 2 between ADG and Energy Pacemaker for the LPL Summer Promotion Tournament. We're in a quarterfinal now on the same side of the bracket as M3 versus KX. Happy that we saw yesterday. The winner of this best of 5, of course, will go on to face M3, who had a 3-0 victory yesterday with Looper and Dade playing very nicely. A close game one, though, between these two teams, and should be a close series all day long.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be building up that way, pastry time. And Energy Pacemaker, they won a game late, but now a little bit more mid-game oriented. This is what we were expecting out of the team. What we weren't expecting is a teleport smart Jax.
Oh, whoa. Amazing J really going crazy. I mean, we've got a Kale. I thought that was nuts. We've got Cassiopeia coming back with Cleanse. You know, okay, these things I can accept, but yeah, Amazing J being like, you know what? You know who we can add to this pool of Shyvana Hecarim? Jax, apparently.
Yeah, exactly right. He has that flash on his Q if you have a ward available, so maybe expect him to grab some green wards while he's split pushing so he can always jump away from things. Also can use his creep wave, but this is what we were expecting. Energy Pacemaker with the Kalista, with the Annie, dodging the early lane. Want to be able to go back at level 6 when they have the Tibbers available and blow up Jin Zhao. But in the early game, Jinx and Thresh, for me, is one of the scariest lane combos.
And you can tell that they're setting up for an early level 2. We've seen so many chompers into flares, into hooks, into dead. By actually, it's Name 0 and both Ward Elites bottom lane, Mystic and Conan doing that as well. So we're actually going to start a somewhat of a freeze here. Not here for the full freezes, Jin Zhao, but instantly Thresh has started to roam away.
Yeah, and wow, they didn't give solo experience across to Shi Xiaoyan, so able to see whether he gets it in the end. But Ray, he's following around for a little bit of a jungle follow. Don't want to go near that Annie Kalista because they do a lot of work in the 2v1 as well.
Yeah, decent jungle follows for both, honestly, here. I mean, Kale just fine in the damage department, and Amazing J's Jax, especially with a smite, going to be able to contribute quite a lot there as well.
Yeah, and this is the thing that confuses me about follows. You have a Ruby Crystal, right? So you're obviously not looking to take the big ones because otherwise you starve your jungler out of too much. But you're just able to stay very healthy and I think invade a little bit more effectively if you take that Hunter's Machete early game. Like, there's no reason they couldn't start at their bottom side of the map and then invade with double machetes because they would be so healthy through the auto attacks. Instead, not electing to do that. He has a Ruby Crystal, a little bit more combat stats, of course, readily available. We'll also be able to go back and grab the Barmy Cinder nice and early. And now Ray and Thresh, they team up to make a duo lane. Didn't really take this into account, but Kale, she's pretty much an AD carry with that E turned on. Yeah,
good roam for Shine. They're going to make an odd 2v2 lane here. An Amazing Day will teleport down. That's the reason you can't go early Machete, because if this ever happens, you have to get back to your lane immediately.
Yeah, you certainly do, but you also get the challenging smite, which against AD carries makes you a very good duelist, so you're able to get in their face. He's quite tanky with that Ruby Crystal, but only has pots available, so not really looking to fight. And Jinx needs to be careful here, because if there's anything Jax excels at, it's killing an AD carry, and they're in a 1v1 lane right now, and you already see Amazing J pretty confident.
I mean, taking a good amount of trade damage. A great mechanic from Jin Zhao switching weapons there, but Bamey has to be careful now as well. Cassiopeia with her flash. Still a pretty easy gank here. Drizzle going to pressure and maybe even just gets a repeat. Cassio very aggressive in the lane. Drizzle's going to come in, hops onto a ward, instantly forces a flash, still takes Pokin. Bammy all of a sudden has to play very far back.
And nails the Q as well, sending a clear message. I can land these, and if it ever comes to a return gank, you're going down. The thing that is worrying for Jin Zhao is he got a better exchange out of that was the fact that there were so many pots available for the Jax player, Amazing J, that if this ever happens in a skirmish again, he's just going to have a better time of it. Ward already prepped, they're going in.
Yep, Bammy going to go through now. Bit too aggressive. Raphael coming through with the damage. Drizzle's going to go in as well. Lulu forced to flash, but first blood does go to Drizzle, although Shedwani joining in as well. Going to knock up the Lee Sin. Play back there as well is going to force the flash up. Permafrost there for a bit of the slow. Flash hook there after it for Shine, and Shu Xiaoyan goes in, but he can't finish the kill, and Shu now down here as well. Shine got robbed.
Yeah, that was like, what, 3 HP that Drizzle survived on, I think, and that's completely nuts, able to get out of there. Shu Xiaoyan will be able to grab some free experience for himself. They might try and push out the lane, although it was pushing back, so they should probably leave it. If I'm a mid laner, I'm spamming back ping right now.
Yeah, Amazing J going to clear out some of his minions under turret. Been pushed in quite heavily by the Jinx, but will avoid the counter-strike. Good chompers actually to zone it away, and right now Jinx navigating the 1v1 very well.
Yeah, it certainly is, but you see the 22 CS being picked up by Jax is okay in the early game. He had some camps farmed up as well, so he's doing all right for himself. Needs to be careful, though, because he doesn't have his teleport available, so you'd say the early game advantage has gone across to ADG, because even though the kill went across to Energy Pacemaker, they're up on gold.
And another kill being attempted here in the bottom side by ADG. This one will take a while. The wave has to reset and push back out for Amazing J to get into hook range. And meanwhile, Drizzle and Shu going to rotate into the enemy jungle and maybe even try to look to steal away a camp or possibly an early dragon.
Yeah, I think they're just looking to continually pick on the mid laner, Cassiopeia. Amazing J, Sixth Sense tingling, is going to go back and pick up his Barmy Cinder, so he wanted nothing to do with that bottom lane. And Drizzle, he's going to pick up the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, there's some low-level junglers right now. Drizzle only level 3 will ping 4 as he takes out the crab, but does take it away. That denies the potential early dragon coming through as Ray. Still with the Doran's Ring here on the top side. Wonder what build Kale wants to be going towards today, but having a fun time here on the top side. Good CS early on in the 1v1.
Yeah, 14 CS up and able to take the 1v1 quite handily. Once again, these are the things about these top laners. They deal with range carries very well. That's why we never see range in the top lane, because there's a lot of answers to it. And most of the time they only clash late game. So we'll see exactly how it works out. Interesting thing for me right now, Drizzle picked up a Barmy Cinder before he got any jungle item. So he's extremely tanky in the early game.
Yeah, and he's going to use it to tank up the early dragon. Shu going to join down as well and help trade tank it there. Drizzle is actually one of the first people to really do well on the early dragons, as Ray just going to cancel the back from Kalista.
Yeah, so quite cute there coming through from Ray. Good Sentinel was scanning out the brushes from Zhang Yao. He's up in CS against the head-to-head matchup by 10, but of course, Ray is ahead of Energy Pacemaker's Amazing J as they pick up the first dragon.
Yep, dragon does go there to EP, so good early pickup there. And again, the mid lane very farm heavy at this point. Cassiopeia doing nicely on the CS. Raphael not quite getting as much harass and farm in as he would like, but Cassiopeia starting to stack up the tier, been playing very defensively without her flash. Or cleanse, actually, but both are going to be back soon. Ultimate here for Cassiopeia. All of a sudden, you're very immobile, but much safer in this situation.
Yeah, you certainly are. With the lack of damage coming through from Raphael and Drizzle, 2v1 potential is actually quite high currently in the mid lane from Cassiopeia. And the one thing you will say about Raphael's Lulu is he's quite short range still. So even though it's a range carry, you need to get up into the back minion line. As soon as you get any form of creep blocks, Cassiopeia is just so good at punishing people that come a little bit too close.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Lulu, for once, does not bully a laner here in the lane. She's usually very good at poking people out early and applying good pressure, but Cassio, one of the few bullies that can actually out-bully Lulu.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. So we'll have to see whether that lane continues to snowball in Cassiopeia's favor or whether she's able to bring it back, Raphael, on the Lulu pickup. First turret has gone down of the game. This is the regular thing we see with Jinx as soon as she goes back and grabs that BF sword. Very good at pushing. Surprised that Energy Pacemaker hadn't swapped back before this and tried to equalize the lane. but maybe just too far ahead.
I mean, they got the dragon, so maybe thought they didn't have to, but will lose a turret as a result. Zhangao now 81 CS before his first back is a lot. Even had a potion spare from the early stages of the lane, so going to go back and spend a good chunk of gold, and it's BF Sword for himself.
Yeah, so he's able to go back, get BF Sword, and advance as wow.
Yeah, Bamey, great ultimate. They're going to go in onto Raphael. Lulu with the ulti should be safe, but another bit of poison lands on Bamey. Wonderful 1v1.
Yeah, able to 1v1 out there, but no summoner spells burn, so just exchanging ultimates. We'll be able to shove in a lane really quickly, though. So you do give the advantage very heavily to Bamey right now, and this is what they needed, their mid lane to start snowballing.
Yeah, and Bamey played great in the first game, looking much stronger on the Casio as far as proactive things in the mid lane goes, and almost 1v1ing fellow Korean mid laner Raphael with a Tear of the Goddess, by the way. If Bamey keeps going, his Casio could take over the mid game. Certainly
could, and he's got a nice advantage now, 20 CS in the mid lane, grabbing that blasting one. You expect it to be an early Seraph's Archangels coming through there, most likely for the Cassiopeia, although also got the components for... Wow.
Yeah, that's a weird bit of vision.
That is crazy. Also got the components for the Abyssal Scepter, is what I was going to say before I got distracted by the greatest place ward of all time.
Yeah, really strong stuff. We've seen a couple of funny place wards here in this series so far, but Jungler is here down the back. Xu Xiaoyin does have his ultimate ready to go. So if they do want to start a 3v3, they have to be careful. And Zhangao trying to bait very hard, but ADG playing carefully. In fact, Sejuani snuck him into the top rush.
Yeah, and this is a time where Sejuani's stronger.
Oh, good stun coming through, but a great Sejuani ult to counter it off. The Jinx ult lands as well, but actually going to go through everyone but Drizzle. Locked up for days there, goes down, and they'll still chase in. Ray teleported back up there as well, and ADG get the first kill.
And they might even be able to grab their dragon. They have 2 ranged carries on full health. Not dragon, turret.
Yep.
And that's going to go down.
Yep, is going to go here. Kale even looking for a dive. Still with the ulti is Ray, so can dive aggressively if he wants. But a second turret here for ADG, and we've seen this before from Jinx players. When you can start snowballing the objectives, game gets pretty far out of control for the enemy team.
Yeah, because she's a late game carry that goes early. Wow.
They're getting jumped on Lantern though out as well. Ultimate available as well for Kale, so perfectly safe at this stage. Does take a big chunk of damage, and unfortunately ADG not sticking together means they don't get the turret in the top lane.
Yeah, they tried to cut off the CS and let a lot of it die. I think the right decision. Wow.
Amazing J going to get caught here though as well. Permafrost lands in. Hook will come through as well. Flay in there as Ray's just DPSing over the wall, but has to be careful. Dumps over the top. Ultimate at the last second, and Jin Zhao will collect the kill.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a misplay coming out of Amazing J. He saw people head into that part of the jungle, and there are no vision wards in there. Just face checks 2 members and gets wiped off the map.
And Zhangao getting a bit of free time, continuing to farm up here on the Kalista. Actually 13 or 15 CS ahead of the Jinx now, but Bamey doesn't need to roam quite yet. Happy with all the chaos that's happening in the side lanes here. And again, just continuing to grow a large CS lead, now 20 up against Raphael.
Yeah, so able to continue to shove in the Lulu. Of course, much lower mana cost coming through from Cassiopeia, so we'll be comfortable shoving that lane in repetitively. Raphael having a very bad time, wants to be grouped with his team, but not able to do so. And now the Jack's falling very far behind as well. Everything going wrong for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, and Ray powering up. We talk about Kale's early and mid-game pressure. Not quite sure how the matchup's going to shake out, but with a Nash's Tooth versus Skirmisher's Saver, might just favor the Kale.
Yeah, I certainly think it does favor the Kale, and a lot of the damage is going to be shrugged away from the ultimate. Jack's, of course, very good in consistent trades, but Kale will be able to put some distance in between him without any form of slow coming through, so probably give it across right now.
We can see Shine attempting a hook there, but starting to pressure in. ADG won the turret that they started so long ago. Shine even going to set up for a hook, but tower does finally fall. That's 2-0 now in turrets for ADG. Although EP is setting up a gank on this Kale.
Yeah, they certainly are, but Ray, he's got the read of it. Has been pinged out. They might get it.
Nope, wrong bush to walk into. Does get slowed there by the Stalker's Blade. Ulted himself at a great time though, but still getting CC through it all. Drizzer follows in with the Q, and that's an easy pickup for the Lee Sin.
Yeah, but an unnecessary pickup for the Lee Sin. You've got a Jax. He's 1 auto attack away. Just give him the kill. Amazing J can't catch a break.
No, not today here, but 10 seconds next till the next dragon might give EP another objective that they can start snowballing. Already have the first one, going to line up the second.
Yeah, certainly looks to be the case. That's a visual bug there. Scuttle Crab is about to be taken. No, they just abandon it. Shine, he's now in there. This is a bad situation for Energy Pacemaker. Their AD carry still top lane.
Yeah, and interestingly, Zhangao trapped there without a teleport. Ray does not have his either, but in the 4v4 have to favor ADG with their Jinx down here, who's got good items, almost the Infinity Edge completed after that last back. So Johnny ready with her ulti. Cassiopeia might even look for a flank, and Amazing J, he wants to go in, but just can't.
Yeah, once again, this is the benefit of having a top laner with the smite who's higher level. Even though he hasn't got the smite up, he's kind of showing, I've got a smite, you can't take it down. As soon as he backs away, they recommit to it though, and they will pick up the first dragon of the game for ADG.
Good stuff there, going to help out Cassio and Jinx quite a lot here. Zhangao just taking the trade makes sense. There was nothing he could do to get down in time, so they'll get their first turret in this game with Energy Pacemaker, but with Cassiopeia and Jinx starting to scale up, things will get out of control in this mid game.
Yeah, I guess the good thing for Energy Pacemaker is they have a better spiking mid-game AD carry. So Kalista is going to be stronger before Jinx is. Jinx is strong when she grabs the Infinity Edge. As soon as Bloodthirster Hurricane comes through, there's a lot of squishy targets on ADG's lineup. Even the Thresh really isn't going to be a tank. It's up to Sejuani to provide that. And unless the perfect KO ultimate stops the Ren sets coming through, you can see Kalista doing some mid-game work.
I mean, we saw Ray and Baimi do a lot of work in Game 1 in general. Certainly, I think that Kale has to use that ulti to great effect appeal for immobile carries, but I think Baimi as well. If he can line up a Cassiopeia role, Kalista has so much trouble when you have big AoE ultimates because she relies on hopping away so far. It's big targeted CCs and massive AoEs that keep her down. Urgot Hecarim have been pretty popular against her in general. Cassiopeia role, not quite as reliable, but does a similar thing.
Yeah, it certainly does. And look, he's going to have to nail the perfect one until the QSS comes through. So maybe it is when the QSS the Kalista can get very far ahead. Of course, being able to cleanse away that big stun that you're talking about. But I still think that just because it's a cheaper item build, that's what people don't realize about Kalista. Everyone's like, how does she get ahead in items? Well, it's because they don't cost as much when they come through. And that's where her real strength lies, is the fact that if you're going to play, you go this Hurricanes build, it's very cost effective.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, Zhangao does need to get to his Hurricane, but not too far away there. Bloodthirster completed, dagger in the inventory as well. Jinx does have her Infinity Edge, so starting to get stronger. Ray also just pushing out waves relentlessly, incredibly far ahead of Amazing J and CS.
Yeah, so he's able to continue to bully. 50 CS is the gap. Amazing J won't even be able to freeze out the lane because with KO ultimate, turret dives are so easy.
Yeah, and a lovely rotation from ADG, threatening either the turret or their lives with the dive potential there as well. And Ray and Shine, even Sejuani coming in, a good flank there to force them off the turret, and all three outer turrets now felled by ADG.
Yeah, and that's just a fantastic move because of exactly what we were talking about. You've got this tanky Sejuani that would be able to dive at the worst of times. You throw in the fact that there's a KO ultimate on such a short cooldown that can be nailed from range. It just means that they can dive at reckless abandon, particularly if there's only 3 members.
Yeah, and I mean, they're moving Amazing J into side lanes. They're trying to get Zhangao farm in the bottom half of the map as well. EP are still finding their mid-game pressure. A lot of it's Kalista-centric, and Raphael kind of had a poor time, can only really help out the other carries as well. More of a utility champion on the Lulu. Drizzle was expected to have more pressure. He started the game off great, but since then, it's all died down, and right now it's been Cassiopeia, Jinx, and even now the Kale as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So Kale's still in a position because of that 50 CS advantage where he can solo out the Jack. So that's fantastic news for ADG because that's Energy Pacemaker's one clear win condition. Get the Jacks ahead, continue to force split pushing. No one else can answer it. However, that's completely out the window now. You see he takes so much damage.
Yeah, going to go in. Skirmisher Saber is popped there, but Ray going to go back in and do good damage here. The Q you can see is Amazing J chunked down to 50% health as the minion wave chases him away as well.
Yeah, and Amazing J just not understanding the mechanic, not getting the fact that he cannot fight while that Q is on him because he's not ever going to be able to get in range of the stun. Unless he goes a very burst-heavy build. I don't know, we've seen some crazy things coming out of the likes of Cali Trolls when he plays it in North American LCS, actually going the Hextech Gunblade over the Blade of the Ruined King, just because it's better in burst. Consistent damage, don't get me wrong, Blade of the Ruined King, much better build, but if you can't get on top of people consistently, you're relying on your Q, you're relying on the W, and a very good slow, then maybe that's something that he can keep in mind, but he's not going to be able to win the 1v1 for another 10-15 minutes.
I mean, they're both going to go shopping, but Amazing J maybe even wants to think of just the Sheen here as well, but has a dagger looking for a Zeal maybe as the next item, and Need to See Large Rod has been picked up by Raya. He briefly considered a recurve bow for a possible Hurricane, but just going to go for big damage right now.
Yeah, he needs to grab, you feel that Death Cap just to be able to really snowball this advantage, because just going to repeat, late game, Jax is going to do really good things in this team comp. He's going to be an absolute monster. Get in there and brawl with everyone. I don't know whether they have the damage to cut him down. But in saying that, it's so long away.
I mean, yeah, Amazing Jay's trying to farm. Zhang Yao's kind of catching up as well. Raphael just clearing mini waves at this point. It's caught up slightly in CS, but Cassiopeia's had free reign of all the farm here in the lane after Drizzle's early pressure sort of faded away. And ADG starting to get aggressive wards done, clearing vision out of the blue side jungle of Energy Pacemaker as well. Next Dragon's back up in a minute, and it just feels like EP have no way into the pit.
Yeah, I know. They definitely do not fight this Dragon fight. That would be suicide unless they get a very good teleport advantage. There's no way they can contest any of these objectives. They're all about just lane pushing, trying to defend their remaining outer turrets and not give up too many objectives until the 30-minute mark. Right now, I don't expect them to move out anywhere.
And this is much more of the game I think we expected out of ADG. Pick strong lanes, start snowballing here, and then just take over the mid game and win before your opponent can outscale you.
Yeah, definitely agree. You see Ray even taking the Gromp away. Not the smite top laner we're used to, but using every bit of resource to be able to farm up in this mid game. Now 167 CS. That's 40 ahead. That is completely huge. And he'll even be able to have access to his side of the blue buff because ADG, they've controlled Energy Pacemaker's blue buff since the second one.
Yeah, Cassiopeia already has that, and Bamey getting strong as well. Abyssal Scepter completed first, followed in by the Archangel Staff, which is probably soon to be a Seraph's, given how quickly Cassio can charge that up. Jinx even moving into a Phantom Dancer as well for a bit more late game, and EP, bit of a desperation Baron here.
Yeah, it has been pinged out though because they're able to see just on the edge of vision the spikes coming through, but they've got no one in position. KO will now teleport. They'll just be able to collapse and kill.
Yeah, ultimate. Oh, no, forced to be cancelled there, but EP do get off the Baron as a result. So Ray can have the teleport on cooldown for a little while, but ADG are already on top of a dragon.
Yeah, but the mind game is there now, pastry time. Unless that Baron is warded at all time, Energy Pacemaker in a very good position to sneak it. This is something that CLG used to do a very long time ago with double Wriggles Lanterns, especially on their top laner like Jax. Just be able to steal that one away at will. You just pop a ward over the back of the pit, jump in there, solo it down.
Yeah, you can see that happening there. Even Callista can jump in there as well if you want to get really creative. But ADG get a dragon instead. That's their second tier of this game. Raphael's on the bottom. Now actually split pushing on the Lulu. Does have a needlessly large rod, so a little bit better from the wave clear and working in for that death cap. Lulu only really needs her 2 items to be effective in team fights, but still needs to get the 2 item spikes. EP in general have been heavily delayed this game.
Yeah, Energy Pacemaker just look all out of sorts. 3,600 gold is the advantage currently. And now ADG, talk about quick Barons. Cassiopeia, Kale. You've got a Sejuani for percentage health damage, not to mention a Fed Jinx. They do Baron real quick.
They do, and they're clearing up vision. They might just go in for it. They're a big brother team, I guess. ADG is famous for the 25-minute Baron after winning a team fight. ADG maybe going to steal that one out of their playbook here.
Yeah, it certainly would be something that we would have to look out of. ADG are very good at doing that. They win a fight, and all of a sudden they have the whole map under wraps just because of their fantastic objective prioritization. They're able to get the absolute maximum out of everything, and you would expect that to carry over from their sister team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they train and share strats together, so wouldn't be surprised at all here as we've got Sejuani. Everyone powering up here over on the ADG side. We've got the Cinderhawk, Ninja Tabai, and the Sightstone, but a Giant Spout now in for Sej, so probably another Randuin's coming through. Still building up for Ray, but he's got his Merc Tread, so a bit of tankiness there on the KO build as he moves in, again, probably for that death cap. And Sorcerer Shoes done for Amy, quite strong on the Cassio, and that Phantom Dancer is not long away for Jin Zhao.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. So finally, they're in a position to be able to win the next team fight convincingly, you feel. This is what a 4,000 gold lead does. It just means a completed item on every main carry. And from there, Energy Pacemaker, they haven't got a winning lane anymore. You could maybe have argued that Zhang Ao was ahead, but Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer versus Bloodthirster Hurricane, giving it to Jinx.
And that's bad news for Callista. We talk about her mid-game power. Matching items with Jinx when Jinx's build is significantly more expensive than yours, coupled with the fact that you just don't have good options now when it comes to fighting in the mid-game because everyone else on your team is still scaling up and you're ready to fight.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what we said. The 1,000 gold gap between the Jinx and the Callista just means that the more expensive item is going to be built at the exact same time. Really isn't a good news story, and now they're in a position to bait out Baron. There's no way you can face check because we're talking about Cassio, we're talking about Sejuani. They have fantastic AoE CC, but otherwise, Energy Pacemaker, they're just going to give away an objective.
Yeah, and Amazing Jay does have his teleport working on a turret here, but Sejuani going to go in onto Drizzle. Shine looking for a hook as well. everybody joining in from ADG. They have to do something quickly because they've already lost a turret in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so turret goes down. They still don't have the teleport available, but it's reality, it's an outer turret. They can just reset, do the exact same thing again, clear out wards, because Energy Pacemaker, even with the turret, they're not in a position to fight still.
No, Raphael going to clear some waves out, and ADG might just get on top of the Baron. They have started it now as well. And Amazing Jay's going to have to come in quickly. Drizzle pops a ward in and gets the bad news.
Yeah, so they've started it up. The bad news is that Shu went back, and they're going to be able to finish it before they even go. Even if the teleport comes through, it's a 4v5.
Drizzle maybe going to try for a steal. Throws out the Q. Port in there as well. Sejuani with the ulti, and ADG back off the Baron. That might give it back over. Jack's going to smite it away. Sejuani now in trouble as Shine gets kicked by Drizzle and dies. Massive CC into the 3-man Wild Growth. Ray fighting back as Jin Zhao's looking for some resets, but Jinx will get stunned up there by Annie. Zhangao gonna dive in there as well. Bamey maybe can get some kills in here as well. Does get the kill into Zhangao. Ray going off as the ADG Koreans turn it on. Triple kill for Ray.
Yeah, they're able to get the kills. Energy Pacemaker probably gonna get aced here because they've run straight back. Wow.
Oh, Drizzle. So much damage, uses everything, Q, Smite, and poor Kale just dies.
Yeah, but the player vision coming through. No, Jinx is actually up further, so looking to back away potentially. If he doesn't one-shot. Oh, wow.
Oh, Drizzle, another good kill, and should have gone in a bit earlier there. Jinx could have started zapping and orb walking, but Drizzle gets 2 practically free kills.
So he turns it into a 4-for-4, and Drizzle all of a sudden, 5-1-1, has the Baron on him. This game back to a knife edge pastry time. Only 700 gold.
I mean, ADG giving away that Baron was a little bit silly here. They basically made both wrong decisions. They either had to finish the Baron or get off earlier and challenge. And unfortunately, they got off the Baron late and then didn't finish the Baron.
Yeah, it just wasn't a clear call. It was, I'm going to stop them from coming over the wall. I've altered, but we're not going to finish the Baron. So in the end, he just walked in. It was only 1,800 health. That's a Lee Sin Q and double smite coming through. Of course, they didn't calculate the fact Amazing Jay such a high level at this point in the game and really cost him. That's a level 14 versus a level 11. Unless they really committed to that, never going to win the Baron smite.
So let's see it again here. You can see they started off, but
they're stunned. 1,700 health. And then all of a sudden, you got double junglers pretty much in the pit. One of them level 13 versus a level 11. And they just take over this fight. If that kick had have gone through instead of killing them, the team fight would have been completely different. This is the part that it turns around, though. In the pit, Raphael tries to 1v2 and just doesn't have enough to get it done. So Shu and Zhang Ao come back in, and all of a sudden, the Lulu support is dead. Drizzle saves the fight with 2 really clutch kills. And you can see how pumped up Amazing Jay is.
Yeah, after stealing that Baron away, looked great for his team. Ray and Bamey then brought it back for ADG, and all of a sudden, Drizzle cleans out 2 kills, and we're back to even. Look at that gold lead, only 1,000 up for ADG.
And the scary thing now, Trinity Force completed. Amazing Jay really gotten going. He's got the challenging smite, can probably jump in on, wow.
Ray is really strong, Spawn.
Yeah, and he has a Zhonya's actually, so some defensiveness coming into his build as well, but still the siege coming through. They can't really stop this one.
Nope. Jin Zhao almost with the last wisp, but no, doesn't go in for the last few rockets. If they rotate Kale, it's a very safe siege though, so wouldn't be too surprised to see ADG and Ray actually with that positioning might even think about a dive, although is getting spotted by a ward.
Yeah, certainly is. And a couple of times they've actually done this, ADG, as Ray gets caught out.
Yeah, oh, Hookdo lands in. They actually stopped the counter-strike coming through, and Ray going to turn it back around. The box used there by Shine, I think, to try and trap Amazing Jay, but a wasted cooldown means that ADG just going to go back and pick up the turret.
Yeah, so they pick up the turret. Now they've got themselves a 2,000 gold. They rotate down into Dragon as well. You expect that one to go in their favor because Ray can probably stay top lane and pressure.
Yeah.
So ADG, whilst giving away a little bit of an advantage, they're starting to slowly build it back.
Yeah, and they're on the top of the Dragon now. 3 dragons to 1 it will be after they take this one away. Dragon there does go over. Good smite there by Xu Xiaoyan. And it's been a crazy game here. I mean, ADG much more on the front foot with their picks this time. You can see how their snowballing style really helped them dominate the LSPL, but the last few fights were just a little awkward. Drizzle, especially with some great plays, and a questionable strategic call on the Baron means that ADG, for all their mechanics, especially in the top and mid lanes here, they can clearly win these fights just purely by outclassing EP, but EP just a bit more experienced, a bit more stronger as a team as far as strategy goes.
Yeah, exactly right. Agree with you. They just look like the veteran team coming through here, so it's almost like they're trying to counterbalance how good, especially Bamey and Ray are at this game of League of Legends, because those guys they're really performing as we have Amazing J maybe caught out a little bit.
No flash, but Leap Strike ready to go. Creep Wave, little late actually, but trying not quite in range there to land a hook. Didn't trust himself.
Yeah, and the warding totem's been picked up by Amazing J, so he has 2 wards that he can jump to there. I like the adaptation coming through. We've seen it be pick up more and more for top laners, but with Jax's kit just makes a lot of sense because he hasn't got a flash.
Yeah, it's a standard thing for top laners, and I think benefits Jax maybe more than any other laner as a result there from the top side of the map. So strong stuff from Amazing J. He's always got a good escape, even building a Giant Spout now to start going tankier, and we saw what his Hecarim did in the last game. The Jax, pretty similar feel once it gets to a late game situation.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's the other bruiser, of course. Hecarim does a little bit more with less. You feel that Hecarim's mid game is probably stronger than Jax, but 6-item Jax, you still probably don't put anyone on par with him, except for maybe Aurelia in the late game, because she's a little bit harder to peel than Jax, but Jax's damage is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Amazing J exceptionally scary as he moves into the later stages of this game. We're almost at 30 minutes in the second game as well. It's been, again, a slog so far as the best of 5 goes. We're already only 2 games in, and we've gotten, what, close to an hour and a half, I think, as far as total games played. And again, ADG had a lead. They've still got a slim one of about 2,000 gold, and the Dragons especially, they can look to snowball. But it was a very close game 1. It's shaping up to be an incredibly close game 2 as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I like that you mentioned time, because this is always going to play on people's mind. The games are going for so long right now that if you give it 1 game away, it's like, wow, that last 50 minutes just meant nothing for us, especially if it goes back to 1-1. The psychological advantage will be there for ADG, but in saying that, 2-0 is such a hole in best of 5s. We saw World Elite nearly do the miraculous comeback and climb out of it yesterday, but reverse sweeps, I'm going to say they're a little bit more common than they should be, but they're still hard to pull off.
I mean, momentum's a big thing, and teams make it maybe a little sloppy up 2-0, but when you're down 0-2, it can be just as difficult as well. So EP continuing to wave clear, trusting in their late game here, Amazing Day especially, just buying time across the map. And ADG just, again, need to have a bit clearer execution in the later stages of the game. We wondered if the early game Snowball team would maybe have trouble closing out in the later game, and unfortunately they've had a couple missteps to even the game back out and look a little lost, honestly.
Yeah, they certainly do, and you know, it's all about having these short-range top lane and mid lane. They really don't have a great siege composition. They only got the Jinx to be able to take it out. They have very good zoning, but Raphael, he's just able to sit back there and wave clear for days on Lulu, so they're struggling to be able to siege up these turrets. Got very good counter initiate, but not fantastic initiate.
I mean, they have such a good siege as a result, though. Nobody wants to initiate on top of a Cassiopeia ult, so you've even got Threshlands and Kayle ult to keep you safe. I think ADG can honestly just start sieging.
So there's only one danger about this, and it's what Cacao, Spirit, all these Lee Sin players brought into the meta. It's not the insec that everyone likes to see, hashtag insec, where you ward hop, kick someone in. It's the flank kick, where you don't even have to use that. You just legitimately get control of your jungle, the 2 paths on the side where they're trying to siege, then just ward hop behind one of the key members and boot them into your team. And it's legitimately impossible to stop because of how tanky Drizzle is. The response to that is, of course, you turn around, blow all your CC on him, but then you've just CC'd a jungler. It doesn't really make that much sense, and the team fight still goes against you. So I really do think it is risky in this case to siege up, because they were far enough ahead to dive. Now that Jax has got a couple of items, probably not the case, so they still need to play it a little bit slower, eke it out to a little bit later.
And Ray's committing to split push now as well, so ADG not happy with the siege as far as win conditions go, playing more around objectives and split pushing here is Ray. Ruden's Hurricane's been picked up with a Nash's 2 Zhonya's, so he is all about the split push. And Amazing J already teleported too early to try and stop the Baron, and Ray with his holding ready to go. If Jax is anchored to the bottom lane, ADG have a much clearer path to this Baron.
Yeah, they certainly do. So now it's up to EP to just start a fight. They need to get in there because they can't, unless he just follows the Kayle around the map and tries to stop the teleport, really do anything about this split push.
I mean, we have Amazing J actually down towards the bottom side, but Shadwani's going to get snared up there by Annie. Zhang out with good damage. Ultimate miss there. Forced to assault and flash away.
Jinx
does
is caught.
just get out, but yeah, Jinx now forced to flash as well. Drizzle going to get the slowdown as well. There's the Fade Skull moving in. Kick there just for damage almost, and Drizzle gets the kill.
Yeah, Drizzle able to pick that one up. He is now an absolute monster on 6-1 and 100% kill participation. Better yet, he's picked up majority of them himself, and that probably makes up for Amazing J's happy finger on the teleport, to be honest, because now there's no way they can just start the Baron.
And ADG feels like a couple of nerves here coming through, not quite executing in the later stages of the game. We've seen a couple of mistakes around this particular stage where the map is very open. Your calls need to be clear. Ray's been great. He's been consistently split pushing in the last 2 games, but ADG just don't seem to decide in a single win condition.
Yeah, exactly right. But now they maybe have. They've started up the Baron with Jinx dead.
Well, we saw what happened last time when they did this as some wards come in and Ray gonna waste his teleport right back.
That was a bizarre call.
It was. I mean, Amazing J's teleport was pretty interesting a couple minutes ago. Ray answers with one of his own and gonna keep pushing here again. Joining in with his team. Maybe feels like he has to be there just for extra damage, but if you're pulling your split push KO build off to team fight, something's probably gone wrong in the communication there.
Yeah, it certainly has, but they will be able to pick up Dragon number 4, so maybe a clear win condition coming through with the Dragons. You'll think they'll be able to take a team fight if they're able to pick that one up. Energy Pacemaker, do they start the Baron?
I mean, they might. Scrying although does see them. They've started it off, but not confident in their ability to finish. It was actually a nicely timed Dragon from ADG. They did pick up their 4th only a moment ago, so have a good win condition, have played well around the Dragon, but seem a little lost between spawns. So we'll see what ADG can get done in the next 6 minutes before the 5th one comes back up. If they can make some ground, just get vision around and keep the farm up, they can move into the 5th Dragon and have a realistic shot of fighting, but Drizzle and Amazing J are doing it again.
Yeah, they're starting it up, and this time it's going to be probably impossible to peel them off because they've got so many Callista Spears in, as well as double smite. This will go down right now.
Yeah, Ray went back to shop. Their ulti lands in onto Shu and Raphael. Might try and get a good spot going in. Callista does secure the Baron, but Raphael goes down, and Bamey has to turn it around. Ulti's there just to get enough damage, and Ray is ripping through people as Jinjao gets soaked. Shine's dead as well, but it's 3v2 now as Drizzle, Raphael, and Shu are all dead. And again, it's the big carries here in the top and mid lane. Bamey and Ray always coming up big in the fights.
Yeah, but another Baron goes down, Pastry, just delaying the game. Now that's another objective not available for ADG. They're ahead at this part of the game still. They're playing like they're kind of even or behind. I really do think they have a bigger advantage than what they're letting on. Jinx is absolutely massive, but can't get any peel. Poor Jin Zhao, he looks like he's out of position every game, but it's just because Amazing J beelines for him and tries to take him out.
Yeah, Heckroom in game 1, Jax in the second game. It is not a fun time to be a Jinx in this series, but thankfully his teammates are doing enough work here in the fights. There's a lot of damage here on the ADG side. It's hard to know which carry to focus. Jinx is probably the best first one, but Ray and Bamey are picking the slack right up.
Yeah, it certainly is, and all of a sudden, the Nah AD carry is starting to make a little bit more sense, because if I'm Jin Zhao, I'm playing Nah, Urgot, any self-sufficient champion. Ezreal. I'm pulling out the Ezreal because no one wants to peel for me at this point. Of course, it worked out for them. They were able to get a favorable trade. But finally, Energy Pacemaker with some forward momentum, able to pick up some turrets.
Yeah, Baron buff helping out here, and this push will happen quite quickly. Bamey can't quite get through the minions. Never mind, they take it back. Shreds through them there on the Cassiopeia with 3 massive damage items and a bit more gold to spend.
Yeah, so they're able to get some gold. One thing I do want to point out is they got Baron on 2 of the most important members. On their AD carry, who's going to be the person taking the turret, and their split pusher, the Jax, to be able to get the minion wave up there. So that's probably in EP's favor. And I don't know why they're not pushing a little bit more, because they have a tiny window. They have the teleport advantage with the Baron buff. Maybe not go for the full-on siege, but try and get someone in the top lane, push that turret in, push 2 opposite sides of the map, and play on your mobility, because you got another couple of minutes where that's going to be a factor.
Yeah, and I can tell why Ray is always in side lanes pushing. His side wave control is excellent. We saw it almost win them a game single-handedly in game 1, and even the top wave's pushing in, and Ray's back down, trimming the bottom side as well. It makes sense why he picks up as much CS as standard farm-heavy mid laners here on top lane, is because he's always moving in, collecting extra CS and keeping the waves pushed in the side.
Yeah, so he's able to equalize that one out there. Also collapsing around this dragon. It's up in 2 minutes, but you can see how much they value the 5th. Already trying to get control over that portion of the map. And wow, the game really is now super close. Where ADG had a lot of advantages early, that's a 5-item Callista. She's going to be doing work because it's such a cheap item build, a little bit ahead of the Jinx at this point. Has a null magic mantle. Jinx will be able to go back and finish up the Bloodthirsty, you feel, in a couple of minutes. But really has equalized here. Cassio probably the only person that has a huge distinct advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the thing is that Jinx really does need some lifesteal here. We've already seen that Amazing J and Drizzle are willing to dive straight on top of the Jinx. She's not going to live that much longer with the Bloodthirster, but it's better than nothing here, because right now, Jinx is never living through these fights.
Yeah, definitely not, especially with Grump buff coming through for Amazing J before every major objective. We'll be able to go back right now and pick that one up. Hope it is the lifesteal as Amazing J. Maybe caught out Gray in the top lane.
Oh, good ulti there. Shu maybe caught out, but shields there too much. Bamey forced to use the cleanse there, but Gray actually now with Shine going on to Amazing J, but Jack's just doing a little too much damage. They're going to see if they can kite him for long enough, and Ray forced to all block aggressively. Zonya's there as well. Counter-Strike coming in, a good playback. Ray's still alive. Sejuani joins in, and Jinjal snipes him with the ulti.
Yeah, that is so many members committed to taking out that Jax. You saw what the smite did right there. Just kept him alive for so long, and they'll grab an objective for 1 kill off this. Amazing J with teleport available, Dragon a minute 20 away. If they don't lose anything else, that's actually an Energy Pacemaker's favor.
Yeah, and Ray continuing to push on the top side instead, with Dragon still down for a minute 10. Items being picked up. Jinx does have the Bloodthirster down now as well, so now equal in strength there to the Kalista, but EP, another good rotation. That's 5 turrets to 4 now.
Yeah, able to pick up both. Ray in the top lane might have the ability to be able to take out that, but he's low, has to go back, so can't continue the split push. And wow, this game pastry time, it is so close. ADG, they definitely have advantage over this jungle area. It's only 40 seconds until the Dragon's up. They're looking to get control, but you're feeling this Jax. He's an absolute monster. All of a sudden, Lulu, she's pretty strong. Kalista gone back and picked up a Hex Drinker for some reason, but pretty good at this point in the game as well. Would have preferred the Blade as kind of a quasi-second defensive item, but they've definitely got some tools to win these fights.
Yeah, and ADG looking for a pick before this Dragon. Can see all of the pings as Ray pushing out a massive minion wave from the bottom side as well. Sentinel coming in. Will spot Shine, who's going to clear it away. But the rest of ADG is still off to the side. They've noted Ray's down there. An Amazing J with a Banshee's Veil now as well. Shu runs in there, forcing the flash away from Shine. And Dragon's back up. It's going to be one hell of a fight.
Yeah, so now Flash not there for Shine, so not going to be able to get any Flash plays in there on the back line. No big disruption going to come through from the Thresh unless he lands the God Hook. They'll be able to pick up the Scuttle Crab as well.
Oh, and actually they've started the Dragon. Wow, they trust in the damage here. Ray is ripping through it, so is Jinx, but ADG needs to secure it. Amazing J's in there as well. Smite goes down, Sejuani gets it. ADG now going to burst out with the damage, and Amazing J's dove in the back. Ray forces Zonies himself, and Xu Xiaoyin tying them up nicely. Drizzle kicks Jinjal back, but he's still alive, and Bamey in the backline's going off. ADG take over the fight. Jinx gets a triple kill, and that's a 5-for-1 ace.
Yeah, and that will be the game. That is inexcusable. 2 junglers, a higher level top lane than Xin Xiaoyin, and he grabs the Dragon. How did he get it? I don't know.
I don't know either, but a great smite finally coming through for Xu Xiaoyin, and ADG going to push him for the win. 30 seconds, a long death time is here, and with the 5 Dragon Jinx, she rips through turrets.
Yeah, she certainly does. That will be the game. That will be the equalizer. Finally, things going Xin Zhao's way as well in that last team fight. Able to pick up the triple, I believe.
Quadra actually at the end of it.
Wow, what a game.
Yeah, amazing game from ADG. And they're going to equalize here. It's going to be a long series between these two teams, you have to think. Look fairly evenly matched. And again, these solo laners from ADG look wonderful.
They certainly do. Ending up 100 CS in both lanes pastry time. Completely bullying around Raphael and Amazing J. And Energy Pacemaker, their draft was bizarre. They actually passed over the Hecarim, and I think they just got overconfident.
I mean, quite possibly ADG answered with some pretty funky picks of their own. We certainly expected the drafts to get a little more creative. I think that's Bamey actually sort of leaning back and being like, I did a lot of work that game. That was very tiring.
Yeah, that certainly was. Back is a little bit sore, but they need to keep it up. 1-1. This is a best of 5. And we're back to pretty much where we started.
Yeah, pretty much best of 3 territory now as we've had the first 2 games get split. Yeah, Bamey can't take too much of a rest there. He has at least 2 more games to play. Hopefully for him, he thinks at least it's only 2 more. But, I mean, as long as they win. I guess if they lose, he doesn't want to play only 2 more games.
Yeah, exactly right. If it's 0-2, he's not going to take it.
No, and we'll see what they can get done. We'll take a break. But when we return, the 3rd game between EP and ADG will join us.